Positive behavior interventions and supports is a widespread evidence-based framework for schools to create positive and successful environments for all students. However, educators often feel overwhelmed or burned out with an average of 14 initiatives being implemented at their school simultaneously. As an educator, you deserve to know the what, why, and how of a new initiative, such as PBIS, before you buy in. The key features of the school-wide positive behavior intervention supports framework include the implementations of practices that are rooted in behavioral analysis, a focus on the whole school as a unit of intervention, and utilizing a tiered system of support which focuses on the school's valued outcomes, such as reading, writing, math, and behavior. There are three distinct tiers to the PBIS system of support. Tier 1 focuses on cultivating a positive school-wide culture by defining, and teaching a set of behavior expectations, developing systems to consistently reinforce desired behavior and address undesired behaviors, and implementing efficient systems to collect, analyze, and use data for decision-making. Tier 1 is considered to be the primary level of prevention. Tier 1 supports are delivered to all students within a school, including those with special needs, by all staff with the school. Data taken at Tier 1 can help identify when and where problem behaviors are most likely to occur, what behavior expectations may need some reteaching, and what changes may yield the biggest outcomes. In school-wide PBIS, the tiers are additive, meaning Tier 2 supports are provided in addition to those identified in Tier 1. Tier 2 is intended for approximately 10 to 15% of students and addresses the most common needs related to unwanted behaviors or academic support. Tier 2 supports are often standardized for efficiency and include increased instruction for behavior expectations and high rates of positive feedback. Tier 3 supports are intensive and individualized to meet the specific needs of student and are intended for fewer than 5% of students. Components of support at Tier 3 consider the whole child and include the use of assessment to create an individualized plan that is implemented by a team of supportive adults. Data collection and analysis are intensified in the higher tiers to support student progress and decision-making. School-wide PBIS allows this whole school to work collectively towards a shared vision using common language, resources, and responses. Because you have developed clear criteria for teaching and responding, students know what to expect and teachers know how to respond, saving time and minimizing decisions. The PBIS framework can also be scaled down for use in the classroom, allowing you as a teacher to implement the system in your own style. PBIS improves academic performance, reduces bullying behavior, improves social and academic outcomes for students with disabilities, decreases rates of student drug and alcohol abuse, reduces office discipline referrals, suspensions, and seclusion, improves teacher outcomes such as teacher efficacy, social health, and safety. Teachers who feel confident in their use of effective classroom management may be implementing more effective practices. Finding ways to improve instruction can prevent problem behaviors in the classroom and increase academic achievement. Teachers who have more positive student interactions have students who improve academically and socially. 3 constructs of teacher burnout and implementation of classroom management include emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and a sense of personal accomplishments. Emotional exhaustion interferes with a teacher's efforts to implement effective instructional practices. Nearly half of new teachers leave the profession within 5 years, citing student misbehavior as a primary reason. Many teachers are not adequately prepared to manage behavior problems in the classroom. The cost of teacher turnover in schools is more than $7 billion a year. Providing teachers with supports they need for effective classroom management may reduce teacher turnover. Providing teachers with coaching can support effective classroom practices. Many teachers are not adequately prepared to manage behavior problems in the classroom. Praise has shown to increase appropriate behavior of disruptive students. Research shows that teachers don't use specific praise at high rates. Teachers who make harsh comments may increase disruptive behaviors in the classroom. Teachers with a low ratio of positive feedback are more likely to have student disruptive behavior. Classroom PBIS is critical to student and school success. When PBIS is implemented in the classroom, student outcomes improve. Schools experience overall improved outcomes as well. Foundational elements to classroom PBIS include EBP practices, systems to support classroom PBIS implementation, data to guide decision-making for classroom PBIS implementation. Now that you know what PBIS is and why it should be used, it is important to understand how PBIS is implemented so you can know what will be expected of you during the process. Once you have identified PBIS as an evidence-based practice that will meet the need of your school, a state or local agency will guide your school through a standard implementation process. Instead of being a standardized or staged curriculum, the trainers will emphasize the importance of applying the effective principles and practices of PBIS framework to cultural context of the school. This is done with a 3 to 6 day training to grasp the scope and content of PBIS. Instead of the backbone of training and support is representative and competent PBIS leadership team consisting of 5 to 7 educators for each school. It is their responsibility to adapt and tailor the framework to the strengths and needs of their own school context. To do this, the team develops the use of data, systems, and practices. Data is used to build an action plan to guide the systematic implementation of student-focused practices and the systems that are necessary for the staff to implement those practices. This process should not be rushed and could take 2 to 3 years. The team meets monthly to review fidelity and outcome data, determine next steps, and communicate with the rest of the school. The action planning cycle of evaluating data to maintain and update the practices and systems continues on a yearly basis so that the PBIS framework stays responsive, effective, and sustainable for each school. The stages of implementation are also defined so that there is a roadmap for schools to identify where they are in the process. The first step, and the one you are on now, is exploration. The step emphasizes creating a foundation by assessing current practices, identifying the need for change, and securing the buy-in of stakeholders like you. With a new understanding of PBIS, you may have realized that it is a way to streamline your efforts and initiatives into one framework, creating an effective school-wide system while still allowing you the opportunity to individualize the process within your own classrooms. At first, you may have thought that you couldn't afford the time to implement another initiative. Now we hope you realize that you